I don't know why do you not call me during your hard time. It hurts me when I heard that you think I'm so busy. I kept telling you, you underestimate us. You don't know how big our understanding in every situation.
I'm Saraid.
And I'm Julie. This year, we travelled with our soundy Joey across Aotearoa to eavesdrop on immigrant whānau talking with their children.
Every family we visited welcomed us, made us laugh, honestly made us cry. And over this series, we invite you too to listen in on Conversations with My Immigrant Parents. The Trinidads migrated to Hawke's Bay in 2009. So there's Dad, Jose, Mum, Grace, son, Joseph, and his sister, Alex. They migrated here as one of the Hawke's Bay's first dairy farming Filipino families, and now they are part of a thriving Filipino community in the area. Jose has even been twice elected president of the Filipino community group there, so don't get it twisted.
Jose was the first to come to New Zealand, selling most of his livestock back in the Philippines in order to move here. He was what is known as an overseas Filipino worker, which meant he had to leave Grace, Joseph and Alex, and it took him about 3 or 4 years to organise visas before the whole family could be reunited here in Aotearoa.
In this conversation, we are going to hear from Joseph and Grace. Joseph is now 24 and he was 13 when the family came to New Zealand, so he's spent more than half his life in the Philippines. Joseph currently works and lives in Wellington with his partner.
Joseph's mum is Mary Grace, or Grace as she goes by. She was a university professor in the Philippines and she tried to get teaching jobs here, but it was really difficult and she could only find part-time positions. Currently, she works at a local pet food packing factory.
So let's hear from Joseph and Grace.
My mom's name's Mary Grace. She was born in a province in the Philippines called Laguna. She is the number 7 of 9 kids. She grew up in a really big family, and what ended up happening is she raised the last 2. I think that's why she had 2 kids of her own, because she really liked it. And there was like a girl and a boy, and now me and my sister, a girl and a boy. Yeah. I've always thought she was forever going to stay 37, but now she's 50, which is crazy to me, because mentally I feel like the 13 years just flew by. Yeah, she moved to New Zealand, to Hawke's Bay specifically, 2009, which is exactly a decade now, which is crazy. She's so kind. I feel like that's her like best quality. She's kind to everyone. Like, she would honestly always see the best in people. And yeah, I feel like it's the same as her as like a mother. I kind of like inherited it from her. It's probably why I'm like on the verge of tears right now. It's just like she kind of wears her emotions in her sleeves in a way.
My son's name is Joseph Marie and Trinidad. Joseph because his dad's name is Jose Aldrin. Mary because I'm Mary Grace. I'm from a religious family. That's why I always put saint name, and GN is my first choice. Last year, he just finished his study in Victoria University in marketing, and he's still now working. He grew up very quiet. That's only at home, but I think outside, he's friendly. He's friendly. I love because he's very intelligent. I always like his opinion. I always like his passion in studying. Anyway, most of my children are really sweet. And that's what I love to him. Do you understand why do we move here?
Well, your biggest reason was always for us to be globally competitive.
Yeah.
And security.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about us getting robbed on our way back from school.
Yeah. Do you remember that how many times we robbed in the Philippines?
3 times. First one when we were sleeping. Second time when we were away.
Yeah.
Third time at gunpoint. So
yeah, that's why we moved here in New Zealand. Because why do we move in New Zealand? We already visited some part of
Because it's
USA, but why? How come New Zealand?
Because it's for dad.
Yeah.
Farming.
Farming,
Yeah.
because of dairy farming. I really need to give up my career. I already teaching 12 years, I think, or more than 12 years as a professor. Then moving here is a different thing. And you guys are already turning to be a teenagers. And it's really hard for you being teenagers.
I was excited though. It was cool to like move to a different country and I don't know, empty canvas. I can have a new personality. Like no one knows who I am. But the biggest change was because we had such a busy life in the Philippines where we go out every weekend, go into the city, go to the mall, go shopping, and then like even on weeknights we won't come home until like 9 because I had things to do like tutors with my friends, and then like here everything closes at 5.
Because in our country, everything is accessible. That's why it's easy for us to go places, not compare here. And how do you find the first 3 years of staying here in New Zealand?
I did not know how to speak a word of English. I feel like for me to come out with a full sentence was hard. Would take me like 30 seconds to even answer how are you, and then people would stop asking. Ugh, learning a second language is hard. Like, or at least like I thought I had like a practical knowledge of it already, but I didn't.
Yeah. What do you think the reason in terms of languages? Do you think the language or the accent?
They always say that we sound American. I think it's just like when we grew up with cable, we grew up with Friends, Jennifer Aniston, and I think I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk like the people from the TV shows, and then it's just like, no, that doesn't really apply in real life because people don't talk that way. Yeah, like me and my sister don't really have the challenge of the accent.
It's hard for me in terms of accent, because most of the time they don't understand my English. They always tell me that it's a language barrier. But the way I look at it, I think it's the accent barrier. Remember, I work in the grocery. Most of my English, they don't understand me, especially some customers looking for some stuff. I don't understand them in the same way. They don't understand
Do
me.
they try understand you? Because when I first came
They
here,
try.
the key.
But now I learning the tricks of how to pronounce it properly. And that's it. That's why I speak slowly. And most of the time, I spell what they're looking for. Spelling, yeah. And that's it.
But when we first moved in here, it's not like the Kiwi accent is easy to understand. That it like flows like butter. Like you can try as much as we try. You don't have to like give up on it. We're not giving up on it either.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one thing that I'm really proud of myself, not giving up and learning to learn, adapting how they pronounce it. Like, I'm looking for a pen.
Yeah.
They want me, can I borrow your pen? What?
Yeah.
And they say, you want a pin? Okay, pin. Then one thing, I'm asking for a seesaw.
Yeah.
Huh? And they're telling me, I thought you're asking for a sea salt. No, a seesaw. I make a sign, a seesaw, like this, cutting paper.
Like we pronounce it the way they want to pronounce it. We even try to write it. We even use sign language. And all they have to do is kind of listen.
But see, we're already here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Filipino community in the Hawke's Bay, they elect presidents, they have pageants around Valentine's Day, they organise huge Halloween and Easter festivities with games. Grace's best friends even came together, and family, came together with the wider Filipino community to plan a huge surprise 50th for Grace. And we saw some photos and they were pretty cute.
Like, they couldn't stop emphasising how incredible that was, because apparently Filipino people love to gossip, and Grace didn't find out, and that was amazing. But I think the whole time we were just really impressed with what a huge community there was in the Hawke's Bay, of all places.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Like, I had never heard that there was this microcosm of Filipinos in, is that the Central North Island, Hawke's Bay?
I have no idea.
Okay, cool. So that was, it was surprising and to us, and then kind of meeting them was all really cool as well.
Yeah, I think it's just bewildering that most New Zealanders had no idea that this existed.
Yeah, we went to a birthday party when we were recording this episode.
Yeah,
there were
little kids' birthday party.
with
Combined kids' birthday party at like a 6-year-old and 8-year-old.
maybe 100 people there.
in like one person's house. It wasn't like in a hall. It was one person's house and garage.
And garage with this mean barbecue.
In a paddock in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, the Filipino community elects presidents, and Jose has been president twice now, which means that we're actually in the company of the first family.
The first family.
I never consider myself as a first lady. Just support your dad because he always elected as a president of the community. We need to organize the Holy Year activities. First is the how can we have a fund?
Yeah.
And second, the normal activities like the Eastern for the kids and the family day every Labor weekend and the Christmas party.
And Halloween.
Of course, the Halloween.
Yeah.
And February is always our
Premiere.
the activities of raising fund.
Yeah.
And we always have a search for Mr. and Miss Valentine's, regardless for what age is it.
Also,
it's a
there's-
pageant in terms of raising funds.
Yeah,
It's
so-
regarding about money.
Yeah.
If you give much more money, you must be the winner. And the mechanic is our community composed of
5 farms?
4 farms. Only 4, including with town.
Yeah.
If you raise the biggest fund, you are the winner. But every winner will receive a certain percentage of what they put in.
So it's kind of like only a part of it
Yeah.
is money though. Like
Yeah.
like 50 to 40%.
No, it's all money.
all money?
It's all money. It's all money.
But why
And
is
they
there a
have a
talent show? Why is it so intense? Like
Because
is-
everybody wants to win. You know the Filipino way.
why is it so intense? It's like a child's pageant. Why is the crown so important?
Recognition, probably. They want to recognize that their children are the new reigning queen, something like that.
I would not want to do it. Well, back in the Philippines, I did, and I won.
Yeah.
But I thought I was going to lose because out of the 3 of us, I felt I was like the ugly duckling, and I feel like I was the worst with dress. I have the worst suits, even the worst costumes. And on pageant day, my auntie created this real elaborate
What's the criteria of the costume? It should be came from a
recycled. Yeah, so
And what is your costume?
it was literally a robot. It was like a really elaborate robot with arms.
Made
and
of what?
A
Do you still
helmet.
remember?
Yes, it was made out of potato sacks, but it was really, really nice potato sacks. And it's so
the
hard to
brown
find.
one, potato sacks.
Yeah.
Then
It was expensive recycled materials because
Are they
there's
the
no way to
crown?
find potato
The
sacks in the
cup
Philippines.
in the bottom?
There's like a crown made out of like, you know, the plastic cups you put over speakers?
yeah.
It was literally like a helmet. I felt like a Power Ranger. It was like a big boost in my self-confidence though, because I won. I didn't expect to be winning, and yeah, it was weird. And there's like a talent show as well. All I remember about the talent show is like fog machine, because that fog machine was like so intense. The entire stage was just like a cloud of smoke, and just like me, 8-year-old me, just like with a mic that's not working.
What's your talent? You sing?
It was
You dance?
really embarrassing. Hopefully no one has a video of it. It was like singing, dancing, and acting. It was acting first, and I was like, oh, I can dance too. And it's like dance break, and then like at the end I sing.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that.
Yeah, I think with pageants is that I feel like people really know that like, oh yeah, Filipinos are really talented, but who's the most talented?
Yeah, it's always like that.
And
Very
it's
Filipino.
also like flex, where it's just like, yeah, my young daughter has this gown flown out from the Philippines,
yeah.
and it costs
That's why
this much
your
money.
cousin won, because her dress is made from the Philippines.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I always hated going to churches.
Yeah, I know. But
I-
there's
like-
but there's always a reward.
Yeah.
We're going to Jollibee
Yeah.
or McDonald's.
Yeah.
What makes you so hard to go to the church?
Because it's so long.
Yeah.
And some priests, when they preach, are so boring. And you are always so busy in church because you know everyone. We would be sitting in the middle of the crowd, or like a crowd of what, like 200, 300. And then like someone from the back on the stage, and like back of the priest would wave at you specifically, and you would wave back. I was like, yeah, I know that girl from high school, or like know that girl from when I was 3. And I was like, oh.
And do you know the reason why I'm going to church regularly?
It's a callback from home. And it's like
It's not a callback for home. It's a faith. I cannot survive here in New Zealand without my faith, believe me. Because I always believe that through prayers, where there I can get my strength. That's why I want you to understand also in times of problem or trouble. I want you to lean on prayers. It's just a moment of silence that you can realize what life really is.
I feel like the Filipino brand of Catholicism is a party. I remember like going to the church and being like seeing my friends.
We're celebrating every December the Misa di Gallo.
Here?
Yeah, it's been 3 years. Misa di Gallo is our culture thing. Before Christmas, we celebrate 9 consecutive masses at night. It's a mass at night. We start 8 p.m. because that's the time they finish their work.
Because in the Philippines,
We celebrate
it's
it.
9 consecutive days, yes, but it starts at 4:45 a.m., correct?
Yeah, it's in
And
the
then-
morning.
Yeah,
It's in
and
the
after
morning.
5:45 sunrise, everyone gets busy because we know that it's Misa de Gallo and it's like the busiest 9 days before Christmas.
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
all street food and you can smell the sticker rice like steaming and it's just like all the sweets. And I always love coming to those. I don't like waking up early, but I always like coming to those. I come to like 2 or 3. And I always come to the very, very last one. And I remember that being a really big event. The churches are like covered in Christmas lights. Like there's always just like the nativity scene.
Yeah.
Jesus is just like there and it's just like it's so big. It's like 8 feet tall or like something like that. And there's always like a Filipino spin on it. Like Jesus is wearing like the Filipino flag or like the traditional Filipino costume. Or like there's like what's the English word for it? The material you use bahay kubo, like you make bahay kubo with.
Bilen, we call it Bilen.
So the next part of the conversation talks a lot about religion and queerness, and I think we just wanted to flag that this can be really tricky territory to talk in.
And that a lot of us who are migrants and kids of migrants have to deal with this. I've definitely had to. My family's Catholic, so it can be hard to reconcile, but it's also not impossible. And obviously that the Catholic Church is moving and changing in other ways, but that, yeah, Joseph's experience with it might not be true for a lot of other people. A lot of us who do have to deal with both of those things kind of wish that they worked more harmoniously because, you know, if religions preach love, then they should love everyone. But obviously that's not always the case.
And it can be really hard when that religion is so key to your family, as we can see is with Grace, where her faith does mean so much to her to the point that she says she wouldn't be able to survive in New Zealand without it. So it's really hard to divorce your family and religion and culture even.
The Catholic Church is very controversial,
Today.
especially when they have their old ways and then there's this new wave of, you want to call them millennials, where there's like new ideas and it's marrying those two together.
And how do you find you when you're growing up that insisting you to go to the church? I'm going in. How do you find
They
it?
never, credit to them, they never taught anything that's anti-gay, not even like anti-abortion. My bad view of the church kind of came from the news. Because like I hear them funding this like hate group and it's stopping, I don't know, gay marriage from coming through, and it's always the ultra conservative ones, this really intense subset of very intense people that won't live without causing hate.
There's some issues that they tackle, especially if they have a Bible study.
Do you go to Bible studies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do they discuss anything?
Yeah, it depends upon whatever question you want to ask to the priest or to the one who lead the Bible study.
And do they have like differing opinions?
Yeah, they entertain different opinions, definitely. The new Pope now, Pope Francis,
Yeah.
already facing the facts that it's already existing. Because I know they have the called canonical law.
Yeah.
It can be changed, I think. That's only my opinion. It's adjustable, I think.
I also think we should flag here that in June this year, Pope Francis actually came out with a statement on behalf of the Catholic Church that was very regressive in terms of views on gender. He basically said that, no, he did say that the Vatican rejects the notion that gender identity is fluid or can be a choice. So I think that it's really important that while we praise the Catholic Church in some ways, we should remember that they are not they're not pro-trans at all. So
One cool pope doesn't undo centuries of systemic oppression.
true that.
Is that too harsh?
Absolutely not. No, tell them all. I'm not slamming the Catholic Church by pointing out that Pope Francis said there are only two genders. It's true. I don't think we're bitching about the Catholic Church.
Even like the wider Filipino community like knows that I'm gay, and I don't know if what they say behind closed doors, but they're always been nice to me. And there's a lot of active Filipino gays working at the church as well. I grew up with a lot of gay people, and all of them up until this day is like religious and have boyfriends and is married now as well. There's so many gay people in the Filipino community, and they all go to church. And didn't Tito Romeo get married in like
Yeah,
a
but they
church?
get married. No, not in the church. Roman Catholic do not still not accepting same. I'm sorry to tell, but that's their stand there. So I have nothing to do with that.
See, that's really annoying to me because they go to church every Sunday like every other Filipinos. But do you think they'll ever get married in a church?
It depends upon to their superior, I think.
Do you think they're ever going to pass gay marriage laws in the Philippines?
Why not? Every year is always a different stories.
Yeah, because I think that
it
as well.
depends. It depends. Everything is evolve. Remember that, Gian. Everything is evolve.
I don't know what the New Zealand brand of Catholic. I gave up understanding them.
Because how do I say it? It's okay now for me for whatever your sexual preference is. It's always okay for me. It's always okay for me. Like I said before, as long as it never harms you, it will be okay. In terms of faith, before I always believed that there are two genders that God's made, a man and a boy, but
A man and a boy.
a man and a boy, sorry.
That's true in my.
Yeah. Make me laugh.
That's hot. Yeah. No.
How can I say it? A
Man
girl
and a woman.
boy,
Yeah.
a woman or a man, something
Adam and
like
Eve.
that. But for me, because it's happening to me, it's a learning experience. There is no such books written what's a good parents. That's what I've learned on my life.
Yeah, because growing up, I was so scared to like let people know that I like men and boys. Dad would always like, there's always going to be like pretty girls somewhere, and I'd be like, you should marry her.
Because I think that's
And I had
normal.
girlfriends as well growing
Yeah.
up. Jesus, that was.
And you choose a girlfriend who's almost like a big resemblance with me, and that's why I saw it.
That
I
is
never thought
creepy,
I'm so
Mom.
pretty. Oh, excuse me, when I look at that girl, we have a resemblance.
Okay.
And some of my co-teachers telling me, oh, your son's girlfriend have a resemblance with you. See?
That was a very confusing time in my life. But yes, I guess.
Did you know that girl is still in love with you? Jessica?
Oh my god. Hopefully she doesn't hear this. I think she's pregnant now.
Yeah. But no boyfriend. I don't mind much. What do I mean is, do it gradually.
Yeah.
To the community and the same time to our family. They're only your two titas knew it, and your one uncle on my side knew it, and
Yeah.
all of your father's sides knew it.
I know, it's kind of just like the first step of coming out to your parents. That's like probably the hardest one.
Yeah.
But after that, like I have to always constantly come out to people. That it's just like, ugh, whatever. Just please tell
But
like how
I
you care.
remember when you were in the hospital telling me that you're a gay.
You're yeah.
The first thing I told you.
Ugh, I know you don't care and you already knew.
Yeah.
No.
Of course, mothers knows things. I can feel it. That's why your dad and me always, what if we are wrong? Because there's no confirmation coming from you. You know what I mean?
I don't know what I was scared about. Growing up, my friends has always been boys, and I always feel a little bit guilty being friends with girls and not dating them. And I just want to be friends with you guys. The teenage boys would be like, "Oh, why are you talking to this girl? Do you like her?" And I'm like, "No, we're just talking about Gossip Girl." Like, I can't really tell them that because they'll be like, "Oh, you watch Gossip Girl and Glee?" I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know. I think that was just fueling my fear. Not you. It wasn't you.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
well, there's also this religion thing, and I was just like, oh my god, every time I Google Catholic gay, and it's just like, it's like the
Probably
internet.
you just consider me.
Yeah.
That's why. What I told you is you underestimate us. You don't think we might understand, but we understand everything.
It's a pretty lovely coming out story, eh?
Yeah, that's really sweet. I like how Grace just said, I already knew.
But also that she didn't want to assume unless Joseph told her.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I really love when she says, you underestimate us. Like, I think that's such a eye-opening thing for a child to hear from a parent. I think we're not willing to accept that we do underestimate our parents. I think we kind of internalize a lot of the stereotypes about migrant parents and maybe religious parents of being overly overbearing, conservative, backwards, all of those tropes.
We try to
can't-
protect them as well sometimes. And it's reassuring to hear that we might not need to.
Yeah, they got it.
In this next part of the episode, we asked a little bit more about the Trinidad's integration into the wider non-Filipino Hawke's Bay community.
I had lots of friends, Kiwi friends,
Yeah.
especially in the church. And I experienced that during the time that I got sick. They always visit us at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
They,
It's such a boring answer, but it's so true that they're all
Yeah,
so nice and accommodating.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if anything, we're the ones that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
inviting them
In fact, I
enough.
experienced they giving us
Yeah.
hips of lemon, eh?
Yeah.
Hips of lemon.
And plums.
And plums.
Yeah. We had like a bucket of
Plums.
plums and avocados just sitting.
So we never encountered any problem dealing with them, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes me really happy. They always tell us about the sun, eh?
Yeah.
Nice sun.
It's
Good sun.
always about
so-
the weather.
Yeah, the weather. I was thinking, what's the problem? They always discuss the weather. And they really love sun. I almost want to tell them, hello, I hate sun, we're Asian. I'm using whitening soap.
Oh my God.
And I also experience, they invite me for an event.
Yeah.
And they telling me, bring a plate.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, they don't have plates at home. And a friend of mine telling me, no, it's not a plate. You need to bring food.
Oh my god, the same thing happened to me in high school
Why didn't
when
they
there was
use
like
potluck?
like the last class of the year,
Yeah,
and I was like, bring a
yeah,
plate, and I brought a literal plate,
Yeah.
a literal empty plate, and I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's so funny.
It's also like my family has that same story as well.
Yeah. I love her assuming, oh, white people don't own plates.
I said, do they not have cutlery either?
I feel like this is too meta. Like, I did this podcast because like I've always wanted to have a recording of your voice, because I feel like there are like times where I'm like, oh my god, there are times where I'm like, I wish this situation like sorry. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be too nervous or too scared if I had like my mom's voice in my head. Tell me that it's going to be okay. I can't really call you at 3 a.m. because your work starts at 6 and you won't be coming home until 7. You work so hard. And I don't want like borrow time in your busy day to just tell me that it's going to be okay for like the 100th time, you know? what I'm most worried about is that you're not gonna be here when I most need you, and I just want for us to have like a moment that I can like go back to. You're like really young and everything, but it's just easier, I think, for us to talk about something really, really personal, but like for me to also capture how funny you are, like, or like share how funny you are. I just want something easy and nice to come back to.
There's a tissue there.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I don't know why do you not call me during your hard time. It hurts me when I heard that you think I'm so busy. I kept telling you, you underestimate us. You don't know how big our understanding in every situation. That what just give me a, you don't know, it's your sister's birthday. We're so busy celebrating, we're so happy, and you gave him a video footage, greeting him happy birthday. Then at night of that, a friend of yours called us and telling us that you're in the hospital. We all of us are really numb of telling what happened, asking them what happened. The first person they call is your sister, and your sister told us, Mom, Kuya is in the hospital, and that's what's kept me worried. Right then and then, 11:30, we pack up ourselves, and we're lucky we still have our van then at that time. Your daddy drove off to Wellington, and I call a friend and tell everybody in our work we cannot go to our work, and even your dad. And I don't know how many days will be on leave because of you. When we came to the Wellington Hospital, it's really, how would you call it, too early to let him in.
It was 2 a.m.
2 a.m. 2 a.m. So we have no choice to sleep in the van.
So just to clarify a little bit about what actually happened here, Joseph was admitted to hospital. He'd been having a really tough time with his mental health.
And when Joseph's parents went to visit him, this is also when they found out that he was gay.
We went into this episode knowing that this was a really difficult subject for this family to talk about. And also, I mean, of course, like sharing your the deepest journeys of your family in an episode of a podcast is going to be really hard. And we really appreciate that the Trinidads let us go here at all.
Like, it's so annoying because I'm such a handful. Like,
You know, I always tell to myself, if I don't have this faith, I know how to pray. I know I have this faith, or else I will give up. GM, believe me. That's why I want you to learn the value of praying, the value of faith. Because at the time that I saw you lay in the bed in the hospital and praying why this thing happened, I almost turned to the point that I want to question why this thing happened. But at the end of my prayer, I tell God, I'm still happy having you. If this thing will happen again, I will always choose you as my son. That is always a compromise to God. The only thing that I'm so blessed, you still with me. That's why don't always question us as a mother and the way I will look at you, especially your dad. The main concern always is you, Elix. That's why when that thing happened to me, I always telling Dad, if will this issue will happen again, you'll always be my son. I will never change the thing that I always will choose you. Leave me. That's why I know it's really hard for you to understand why I have this faith, because this is the thing that helps me a lot. Excuse me, it helps me a lot. Because if not, I will give up. I always pray to my guardian angel. I always pray to your guardian angels, to your father's guardian angels, to your sister guardian angels, even to my cat's guardian angels, to guide you,
Ming
to
Ming.
guide you. Because I know, I don't know if you're still praying, but I hope you will pray.
I think that Grace saying that she prays to their cat's
Her
guardian
cats.
angels
It's
is one of my favourite parts.
a great line.
Yeah, Julie and I did sort of debate quite a bit leaving this much discussion about religion in, because I think for me, like, I was just as producers on this project, I don't really want to make it seem like we're centering or supporting any one kind of religious belief.
It's not centering Catholicism, but it's centering her faith. And I think it's pretty incredible that she admits to having that moment of doubt when Joseph was in hospital, to admit something like that, then continuing to still believe in her faith is the thing that gets her through every day. You can see how much everything means to her.
Yeah, and how it works for her. And of course, that is one of the lovely things about religion. It helps people when they've lost someone or when they're going through things. It's something to lean on. I don't know. I think I have a stigma around it for myself from being raised Catholic. Like, and generally, if I hear of any overarching religious belief, and I try to listen to people weaving in their religion to all aspects of their life, I find it hard to connect, and I don't know, I kind of switch off. I think it's because I don't see a place for myself in any religion, so I just like take myself out of it. Maybe, as I said, because I was raised Catholic and I've rejected that, partly because I don't like the history, partly because I'm gay, partly because a priest in Hamilton was mean to my mum one time.
All fair points. Yeah, I've seen you react like that to religion throughout this kind of podcasting journey, and it's quite interesting how much religion has come up with our families. I think that's just kind of been a coincidence.
Or
not.
It isn't, because
Or
colonisation.
But I think because I wasn't raised with any particular religion, I can see things a bit more, not quite objectively, but impersonally. And I think I share some of that wariness that you have of religion in general, like we just said with Christianity and its association with colonisation and kind of conservative values. But then I think I also see how important religion can be for different communities, and I'd never want to kind of reject it completely because of that association with colonisation. It's not these communities, it's not their fault that they are so heavily religious, not that it's a fault at all, but I think of like the recent Israel Folau example where especially young woke people, white young
woke in quotation marks.
People are so willing to make a mockery of him and how backwards he is, in a way because of how racialized he is. And I think these woke white people thinking brown people are backwards without acknowledging that they are the root of that somewhere in history. I think that's the backwards thing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with all of that. And I would 100% take an overtly religious person of colour any day over an aggressively atheist white man.
I think of white power as a home now, but I feel like you can have multiple homes. Like, Philippines is definitely a place I grew up, but also like Hawke's Bay is a place that I grew up. When I come back from the city, like from Wellington, I always feel so re-energized because like there's your cooking and then there's like the sun, which I love now because I live in Wellington, and it's always raining and it's always so noisy and it's always so crowded in there. And like now Waipawa, Hawke's Bay, like there's so many Filipinos here. I remember you like every time you visit me in Wellington, you bring like Filipino food. Like you brought us two cakes,
Yeah.
two homemade cakes, one ubi cake and one like caramel pistachio cake from Tita Maricel.
Yeah,
Tita Mar-
Auntie Marisol.
yeah, Auntie Maricel, and it's just like she baked that just for me.
Yeah, this is already our home, Waipawa. When I came back here, I already decided I no longer belong to the Philippines. I'm only in New Zealand. This is already my home. And because this is your dad's choice, but it's already my choice, of course. Because as long as you're happy here, I'm also happy. Because I asked you, do you still want to go back to the Philippines?
I have no friends there anymore.
That's it. That's why. And my friends are getting old now, and they have no time again to us to get together most of the
The
time.
friends that I have are also like
Yeah.
migrated to other countries. Like
Yeah. That's it. Because this is already your home. Yeah, are you okay now?
yeah. I was just like really emotional for a little bit.
Yeah. We Filipinos are very, strong in terms of problems. That's why you're a Filipino, I'm telling this. That's a little bit aggressive, eh?
Yeah, we wanted to say the biggest thank you to Joseph and Grace and the whole Trinidad family, actually the whole Filipino community.
in the Hawke's Bay.
Grace, who made us the best food.
Oh my gosh, Grace cooked for us like 3 different meals.
Yeah, Grace
Vegan
cooked,
options.
that she didn't
Filipinos don't
prepare.
even eat vegan food.
And Grace prepared it especially for Julie.
Thank you, Grace.
You can check out photos and videos of all our participants on Instagram at Convos with My, on Facebook at Where Are You From Really, and on RNZ's website. Conversations with My Immigrant Parents was created, produced and directed by Julie Zhu and Saray De Silva. Recorded by Joey Siasoko, sound engineered by Colleen Brennan, with original music by Tal. Our cover illustration is by Ngaumutane Jones at Ms. Mimo, with design by Sonia Milford.
RNZ supervising producers are Sarah Vuitalitu and Justin Gregory. RNZ Senior Commissioner on this project is Kay Almers. Conversations with My Immigrant Parents was made possible by the RNZ NZ On Air Innovation Fund. He kōnei ipurangi tēnei mo te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.